how the decent home standards could affect your letting agency. Today I'm joined by Des Taylor, who's the MD of Landlord Licensing and Defence. Thanks for joining me today, Des. Decent home standard, HHSRS, fire regulations. There's a lot in the Renters' Right Bill. How's this going to affect letting agents? Talk to me.
Letting agents should already be on top of this because HHSRS is the Housing Act 2004 Part 1. It's been in existence for 20 years now. But many people, even I spoke to an agent on Friday doing an inspection, and I asked her the question, do you understand HHSRS? And she said, no, I just do rent collection. So there are people out there who have no idea. Decent home standard, that's already there in the social housing sector. It's bringing it into the private renting sector, so it's going to be similar to HHSRS. They're trying to simplify HHSRS because it's essentially the 29 hazards of how to kill your tenant, and how to overcome them. So this is going to be really, really important to understand it and get trained in it. There's very few organisations that train, and those organisations tend to train only for the councils. So this is going to be very important to find people who are independent, who understand it and can help you, or outsource it to somebody who can.
Most letting agents are going to say, well, this is not for me. I just deal with two down terraced houses.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to say that. And probably if you asked me 20 years ago, HHSRS, oh, that's just them health and safety people getting involved again. They always stick their nose in. Yeah, well, today, that is the basis upon which the local authority will issue improvement notice and prohibition orders. And they're issuing more improvement notices and prohibition orders in the last couple of years than I've ever seen before in the last 8 or 9 years.
What's in it for them? Do they get to keep the money then?
No, an improvement notice or prohibition order means that the property comes up to the standard that it needs to be. So things are wrong. So there is an amount of money the council can recover for their work and effort, which is generally £600, £700, £800 at the moment for doing that, and maybe some other few fees here and there, which they do under the Housing Act as well. But it's about making sure the property is right. So where there's no licensing scheme, where there's a selective or additional or mandatory license in place, they can just do it under license conditions because they will be part of the license conditions. But where there isn't, they have to give improvement notices and prohibition orders. Improvement notices are being given when the landlord or the letting agent isn't doing what they're supposed to do at an early enough stage. It's normally because they haven't responded to the tenant has become frustrated, or the landlord, the letting agent, or their maintenance person has blamed the tenant. So they go, I'm going to the citizen's advice, I'm going to shelter, I'm going to somebody to help me, who then send them to the local authority. And the local authority, when they get a report, they have to investigate. And when they go there and they find a category 1 or a category 2 hazard, everything's a category 2 that isn't a category 1. It's just the level and severity. But on a category 1 hazard, they have to take action immediately. And that action can either be an emergency improvement notice or prohibition order, or they will issue an improvement notice or a prohibition order, for which, if you completely disagree, you have the right to appeal to the first tier tribunal. But most of the time, when I look at them, there is warranting some of them, but maybe not all of it. And you should really take it quite seriously, because this is another one of those offences that could affect you in the future with licensing.
But what if I'm a letting agent and I've had no calls from the council or health and safety?
It's unlikely that something's going to, you're going to have, if you had no issues from them, you've got nothing to worry about because everything should be okay. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And being ready for it, the same way as we take a test to drive a motor vehicle, and then we want to drive if we want to drive a bus or a truck or anything else, we take another test and another license. Housing is becoming the same. And it's really, really important, because we haven't done the regulation of property agents. I think that is absolutely going to come in much sooner than we realise now, because the Renters' Rights Bill and all the things that legislation brings with it, the consequences or the unintended consequences are going to make ROPA become more important.
Thank you for your time today, Des.